Hi, guys. Just gonna wait a minute. Just gonna wait a second. My glasses are dirty. Okay. Okay. Hey, guys. So I wanted to come on today, and there's so much kind of happening right now, and the Facebook Live I did, or the one before that, I can't. Somebody had wrote in the comments that they would love to have, something on overcoming maybe some anxious feelings that many of us might be having. So if somebody can just throw up some hearts or thumbs up or something, just to let me know that you can hear me. I just want to make sure that you can hear me. So before we go forward, yeah? Can somebody just quickly do that, please? There's always like a few second delay here. So if you can just kind of let me know that would be great. Okay, thank you. So, okay, so, so I always listen to what you guys say, because, when I'm coming on, I want to help you in any way that I can. And I never, come in here and think that I know it all, because I don't, but I've been on a pretty strong personal development path for many years. And so I've learned a lot of nuggets along the way, obviously, and I've done a lot of transformation myself in my life, and things have changed. And I've had moments of feeling very anxious as well. So, I get that. I think all of us probably, right, have had some moments of feeling kind of anxious to one degree or another in our life. And, certainly now is very uncalm waters. And so it could stir some of that up. And, but I think it's important to kind of be positive about some things too, because, like, for instance, like, I don't know about you guys, but like with me having, more time actually being home, because, I'm always on the go with 2 offices and traveling a lot and working a lot. So, this kind of quieter time has been kind of awesome. And it's allowed me to get back a little bit to writing. And, for those of you that know, I write with the spirit world. So I sit and I kind of connect with them, and they kind of write through me. And I kind of stepped away from that a little bit. And I kind of just through this time, I felt really inspired to kind of get back to that again. So I kind of love having this kind of quiet time, right? And just a little bit more reflection, and kind of getting back to some of the lovely habits that I was doing before so regularly. And so I'm really excited about that. And so today I woke up this morning thinking, well, maybe today would be a good day to kind of talk about, feeling anxious and things like that. And so I kind of woke up with that. And then I said, I'm also kind of feeling like it would be nice to kind of start writing again with the spirit world, and just kind of sit with them and see what guidance they have. Sometimes I just want guidance for myself. Sometimes I want it for others. And so today I, asked them to speak a little bit about, feeling anxious. And so we wrote a little bit today, and I thought it might be nice to kind of share it if you're up for that, because I thought that might be kind of nice, right? A little different. Yeah. So, I think it'd be really good. And then I kind of thought what we could do is I just want to kind of share what they spoke about, what my guides, my team, I talked about with, I call them my dream team. I call them my spirit dream team. That's what I refer to for my guides that work with me. And so as I was sitting with them, I wanted to ask about this, a little guidance for us for feeling anxious or feeling some moments of anxiety. So I thought I would just kind of read you. Would you like that? Would that be okay with you? Because I thought that might be kind of nice. It's very spontaneous, kind of read it. But 5 minutes ago, I just said, I think I'm just going to read it. So I always trust what I'm getting. I'm always just I like to just kind of trust what I'm feeling. And so I'm going to do that in just 1 second. But I love you guys to just kind of chime in if there's anything that you're feeling really anxious about, or things that you're handling when you're feeling a bit anxious. It'd be wonderful as a forum here to kind of just share that as well, right? So feel free to post some of that, okay? Because I would love to hear. So I thought I would just kind of start here with the spirit world, and let's just see that love and guidance that's around us, what they say for us. So I always think, hi Judy, I always think that that's terrific. So I don't think there's any better guidance we can ever get than our own personal guidance that we feel, and the love and guidance that surrounds us. And so that's what I thought I would do. So I sat this morning with the spirit world. I got back into writing again, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm feeling really inspired to write again. And so that's exciting. And so, yeah, thank you for the hearts. And I'm always feeling spirit kind of motivates me and kind of just builds those desires in me as well. And so, okay, so anyway, so as I sat with the spirit world, I asked them for guidance. Let's talk a little bit about feeling anxious. How can I help those for my Facebook Live today? Because I want to do one. Hi, Monica. How are you, honey? Okay, so I'm going to kind of look down and read it, because every time I look down and then try to look up, you don't know how those newscasters do it. But I'm not very good at it. So I'm just going to kind of read it so I can kind of stay more focused on the message. And then maybe we can have a discussion about it, right? So let me know if you're liking what you're hearing. Let me know if you have questions about anything about it. Okay, so I asked them, and they said, my guides are Edgar, by the way, okay? And by the way, you can do channeling sessions with Edgar with me as well. It's on my types of reading page. So hi, Elena. So you can always have an opportunity to kind of have a session with Edgar yourself. But okay, so you asked for guidance on this topic of feeling anxious. And it is so that many may feel this way. It is, however, only a product of how they see themselves in the moment they are feeling it. That is all. It is how one sees or feels regarding themselves, feeling in control or out of control, feeling empowered or not, feeling connected to oneself or not. You see, the feeling of anxiety is only a product of how they are themselves seeing themselves, and how they choose to see the situation they're in. If one sees themselves in situations that stir and linger to the negative, it will produce feelings within to match. Hi guys, if one sees the situation as more positive, it can and will produce better internal feelings within. That then gives a better set feeling, yes? It is that each are in control of how and what they choose to see. What feels better? Ask yourself. What is it that one thinks? Is it that thought that gives you the feeling of being anxious? Is it the thoughts that give those the feelings of feeling anxious? So we can choose to think differently, but it also takes the desire within oneself to want to do it differently. It is the practice and reconditioning of how anyone feeling and thinks. Is the situation that I am in currently what is making me feel anxious? Or is it how I am seeing the situation? We say it is always how one sees the situation, each and every time. To begin painting better images in one's mind, to become the inner artist within oneself, to see themselves as this magnificent artist, to know one has the paintbrush at all times, and that you are always creating. That it is the thought that creates the image. What am I thinking? What thoughts cause me to feel good and vibrant? What thoughts cause me to feeling unsafe and scared? They are both choices of thoughts. Are you all considering the power within each of you to choose and to decide at any given moment to think thoughts that allow you, as a painter, to paint images that feel better to you? It is simply a way to get one to understand that anxious feelings come from the choices each one has towards feeling better or not. You must stop and recognize that protection is needed from one's own thoughts. This is where you will feel safe, that protection comes from having better thoughts for oneself. Is the glass full or empty? What feels better to you? It is as simple, you see, as that. Feeling more empowered, knowing that how you feel is a choice that each person has. It is a choice and a decision as well, whether they see it or not. It is nice to have them place a flashlight here. I'm telling me to tell you. The security they seek resides in the comfort of better thoughts, and those thoughts produce better outcomes. What are they painting in their minds? What visions are they holding as they walk through the day? What images are they stepping into to experience? It can be very helpful for those to see themselves with a paintbrush in hand and to know they can create better images that will produce for them better feelings within. It is helpful to show them that they are always safe, that it is only their thoughts that make them feel unsafe. It is easy to do. Exercises to better thoughts can be simple and easy. I thought this. How does that feel to me? If not good, then practice a better thought. It is always them having the power to do this, you see. What are we doing that gives us those thoughts? If thoughts are not feeling good, what are we doing that gives us those thoughts? What is being watched? What is being discussed? What is being overheard? Lots of options to watch, a variety of different things. Funny things, sad things, violent things, inspiring things. What are they watching? What are you watching? Is it a must that they watch this if it gives them feelings that do not feel good? Do they know that they have the power to switch the dial? We say they have the power to switch the dial, but do they? This is their question that they must ask themselves. It is that circumstances feel better once one feels better. So always be lesson to the anxious feelings is to feel better. It is there that the dial gets changed, you see, when we lessen the anxious feelings. It is there that new programs to watch and listen can come to their visual forefront. There are always choices one has, dear one. For those that feel there are none, are truly not looking through the glass of possibilities, but rather through a wall that is a brick. It is very good to tell them this as well, you see. It is simple shifts that bring easy change. One must never focus on something being too big for themselves, for each have the power to overcome whatever they feel. It is so. We hope this has helped. Edgar. So let's just take a moment, and I hope I read that okay, because hi, Elena. Hi, Sharon. Would love to hear what the universe thinks about what is going on. Okay, I could write about that, sure. Today, I kind of asked them about feeling anxious, but I could do that. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Elena. Hi, Evie. Hi, guys. And Judy, hello. Okay, so let's just take 1 second and let's just kind of think about what they said. Are we feeling anxious? And what are the thoughts that we're holding when we're feeling anxious? What are some of those thoughts? What are we worried about? I know I had a client that was just with me, and she spoke a lot about she was really anxious, and she was like really having trouble. The kid's school was out. Her son was in a senior year of college, junior year of college, and it was really important for him to be doing all this extracurricular stuff for his college applications. And she started getting really anxious, like, oh my gosh, what if my son doesn't get into that college? Oh my gosh, what if he doesn't get into the college of choice? Oh my gosh, maybe he's not going to become the veterinarian that he wanted to become because now he's not going to get into the college that see these thoughts? And then that raced on to, now she's an esthetician, and now the esthetician is now, the spa that she's working at now is not open because of this, and they just laid her off, and and now will I ever get that job back, and will I be able to be an esthetician anymore? And do you see how these thoughts can really just take us to dark places? But if we just can focus on like now, like stay present, because present is a gift. That's why we call it present. Being in the present, in the now, just this moment, and not allow us to go ahead, go into the future. We shouldn't go into the future because the future is unknown, right? We can't go there because we don't know what those outcomes are going to be. So why would we want to place our well-being and our emotions there? We need to stay here. And if you just stop and pause and say, okay, so school got out early and now we can't do these curricular activities for your son. Okay, we understand, but is he safe? Are you safe? Are you okay? Okay, let's just pause a little bit and just step back a little bit. Our mind can just take us to these places. And that is what builds a lot of our anxiety, is just not staying present, just not staying present. And I really think, this is life kind of giving us this dial-up of forcing us to become more present. And it's really our work to not allow us to get lost in what we do not know is ahead, and just stay with what we know is in this moment. And I think that would be really helpful. What do you guys think about that? And what do you guys think about that? Let's see. Yes, the thoughts are creating the images, sometimes scary images that we're reacting or overreacting. Yeah, I mean, don't you even know, like when Edgar was kind of talking about, when they were kind of speaking about being the painter and, having that paintbrush and your thoughts creating images. If you think about it, like if you've ever gone to like the Getty, or you've gone to some places where you've looked at art, have you ever like looked at some of the art and you kind of like step back and kind of go, whoa, that guy was angry when he painted that, or this guy was really going through some stuff, or you can even right, some of his paintings were really like, you could really kind of feel like where his emotional state was when he was painting some of these things. And what Spirit was really saying is like, we are always painting and creating with how we're feeling. So right, sometimes we can paint things that are kind of scary, and we can kind of create that in our energetic space, and we don't really want to do that. And so being really aware of how we think, it seems to be the big message from the spirit world is, reel it in, right? And so, we have to kind of redirect how we're thinking and how we're responding to our situations. Like what they said was, is the situation I'm in right now creating my anxiety, or is it how I am stepping into the situation, how I'm responding to the situation that is causing this anxiety, right? And when they also spoke about, protecting ourselves from our thoughts, that we're, we tend like I'll just say, like, we're going to the store and trying to buy a lot of toilet paper, buying all the rice off the shelf, and, all the pasta that we can find, and, all these kind of things. And we're trying to protect ourselves. And to some degree, yes, we want to, be protective of our family and our children. I get that. But at the same time, we're putting so much focus into protecting ourselves from the things, like, we live in America, we got lots of food, we live in there's plenty here, but we'll put ourselves in that mindset that feels scary, that feels fearful, and then from those places we start to get these feelings of anxiousness, because now we're creating that. But we don't need to do that. What Spirit was saying is, what we should really focus on protecting is our thoughts. We need to treat our thoughts really carefully and really be gentle and protective to those, because it's the thoughts that are creating us in these tailspins. So it's about kind of like be a fishing role, and like when you find yourself having these thoughts that are kind of going out to the future here, grab a fishing pole, just mentally just kind of reel yourself back in and say, present moment, just bring yourself back. And I really think that that's a good thing. I've done that a lot. I'll catch myself. That's why on my website, I have this meditation that's called the Reset, and it's like 10 minutes or something, but you can actually learn to do that in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It's kind of like reeling yourself back in. It's like changing your state of mind. Your mind gets a little kind of out there and really crazy, and it's about bringing it back to center, right? It's always about bringing back to self, and that is where calm sits, and that is where, comfort is, and, there's no scariness and fearful feelings when we're with ourselves. And so it's always kind of about that, but, bringing us back. So Who wants to chime in just a little bit before I kind of go on? Yep, to become a creator. That's right. And listen, I think I said it on one of the other, I don't even remember, maybe it was in my book, but we talk about how we are our own creators. So, you know, we're going to choose. And, you know, what Edgar was saying, what Spirit was saying was, you know, we always have that decision to place our mind where we want. And it's up to us to say, how does this thought feel to me? How does this thought feel to me? And if it does not feel good, we should reel it in and bring a line out to a better feeling thought that feels better, right? So, you know, because we are creating, if we keep allowing ourselves to keep thinking about things that are worrisome, bring ourselves to the future when we don't even know what's kind of going on, instead of just staying present in the moment, you know, with what is okay. Right now we are fine. We are safe. We have food in the house. We're okay. We got a roof. We're okay. In this moment, we're fine. Let's stay there and not allow ourselves to go so far out. But our mind tends to do that. But it's up to us to decide. It's up to us to really have the responsibility within ourselves to say, okay, I'm recognizing my mind's getting a little out there. I'm going back to the future here, and we don't know what the future is. So we really have to just stay in the present, because this is what we know. And let's just stay there. And that's our work. That's what we can do. And each of us can really do that for ourselves and for our families. And I think also, like some of us who have kids, you know, we're feeling a lot of anxiety. The kids are feeling very anxious as well too. You know, they haven't gone through things like this either. And they're still learning. They're young. They're learning those coping skills on how to deal with things like that. And sometimes kids, they really just need a sounding board. And as parents, as moms, and I've been guilty of it, you know, we're fixers, right? Who else is fixers here, right? We just want to fix everything. But that sometimes gives us anxiety too, right? Because we're trying to fix things that we don't really know what the outcomes can really be. So how can we really always do that? But what we can be as a mom for some of our kids is just be that sounding board. Let them vent, because that allows them to release the anxiety that they feel. And we can just be that wonderful sounding board. And then at the end say, wow, you know, it's really good. We had this talk. Don't try to find solutions. Just say, you know, now sounds like a really good time to go watch something funny. Let's go put on a comedy or something, and just kind of shift that attention and just kind of give them something else to do that kind of lifts their vibe. Does that make sense? Okay. Hi, Terry. How are you? Sorry, Evie. Mindfulness is our friend for sure, being in the moment. Elena, absolutely. Mindfulness. I mean, we got to be here. We can't be there. We got to be here. If we stay here, we're going to be okay. And if we stay here, we don't let our mind wander to other things, we're going to be good. So much of feeling anxious is really about our thoughts. And I think that was a great message from Spirit today, really talking about that. And, you know, I never know when I'm sitting with Spirit, like what they're going to talk about or what direction they're going to kind of go. I mean, I asked for guidance on anxiety or feeling anxious, but, you know, their whole thing was on thoughts, and it was really kind of interesting. So anyway, for any of you guys that missed that, you can play it back and listen to what the message was from Spirit. Elena, I have this painting in the bathroom, and I picked up recently at some store, and I noticed I stopped and looked at it every single day now on my wall. It is so soothing and insanely inspiring. Love. That's amazing. Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, here you got this painting, and all of a sudden now that painting is giving back to you, isn't it? So you took on that painting and gave it a home, and now that painting is giving something back to you. How beautiful. So wonderful. Love that. Love that. Wonderful. So, you know, visions are probably very good for you, Elena. You're probably very good with visual. So keeping good visions of yourself and seeing things, maybe creating that picture in your mind of positivity and wonderful outcomes are really good for you. So I would keep doing that. Yep. Evie, scary when everybody around you don't think about others and live in fear, emptiness, empty all the shelves and overreact, and it becomes contagious and others react over these anxieties. Yeah, you know, I have a dog, and so I have to walk the dog every day because I don't have a backyard. And, you know, what I noticed yesterday was people were walking and they had this distancing, right? But nobody wanted to kind of look at each other. Like if they weren't with their particular person, they didn't like put any love out to anybody, you know, it was very to themselves. And if they had to pass by you, they would like look down. And, you know, gosh, we need one another. You know, we need community. We need one another. And just because we have to be a distance of 6 feet or 8 feet or keep that separation, that does not mean that we can't give a wave, right? Or we can't make eye contact from a distance or put on a smile, right? We don't know what that person's going through. And, this social distancing is really hard for a lot of people. And just a smile or a wave is really good. There's this homeless guy that lives down by the beach, and I saw him, and he was, I don't know, 20 feet or 30 feet from me, but I stayed focused on him, and he made eye contact with me and me with him. And I just gave him a wonderful shout out and a big smile. And his whole demeanor shifted and changed when I saw that. And he was like, oh my God, she's looking and smiling. Hi, back. And it was so nice, because we have to, if we're having social distancing, let's still give a wave or a smile from a distance. That energy can still be felt, right? I mean, I could do readings online, and you could be in Europe, and I could be in California, and I could do readings online, and I'm still getting that energy, right? So you don't think that person 10 feet away from you can't feel your good positive vibe? So let's try to focus on that. That would be really great. So even pets pick up on these energies. Yeah, that's true. Anybody have pets right now that are home in your home and they're kind of loving it? Because I think my dog is like all about it. Right, Sozo? I think she's really all about it. So I love art. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. Hi, Rachel. You noticed that too. Yeah, it's just like, let's just do our part, right? We can always do our part. And sometimes that helps the anxiety too, because by saying hello or waving allows us to express ourselves with love, and that feels good to us. And then when somebody receives it, it feels good to them. And so this is a nice exchange that we can give to one another, even from a distance. And to understand that some people really may need that, right? Just like the other day when I said I was at that coffee house and the girl was really heavy energy, she just needed my dog. She just needed the love, she needed that attention and that affection that she was missing. And so, we need that. So we have to be mindful of what others are going through too. And it helps us also, right? So, okay. So there's a couple things we can kind of do about anxiety. My dog every day too, I see people look at me and smile. Doesn't that feel better? It does feel good, right? You're right. And so you're in San Diego, I'm in San Clemente. And so, the beach communities, but even this morning I saw it. Was it yesterday? I can't remember now, my days blend. But, where people were kind of looking down, or there was really at a distance, or they weren't really engaging at all. And if they had to walk by you, it was like they didn't want to make any contact whatsoever, but I don't know. I think there's a way to still stay connected at a distance. And I just think that that's really important. So some tips about anxiety or feeling kind of anxious or having these moments. And obviously the big message today was our thoughts. So before we kind of go into some other kind of ideas and tips on having to help you guys with it, what did y'all think about that message from Edgar? What did you think about the thoughts and how we're stepping into the situation, and how, is it really the situation, or is it where our mind is taking that situation, right? So is it this moment situation, or does our mind take us to places that feed that, feed anxiety and feed anxiousness to us? What do you guys think about that? What do you say? Where are my glasses? Okay, anyway, so, okay, so yes. Okay, good. So anyway, it's something to kind of think about. And another thing we can kind of do, so number one thing is I really believe stay in your own time zone. I really think that we shouldn't take our thoughts and our solutions into the future too far. I think staying present is really, really good. That's why they call it present. It's a gift. Stay in the now, stay in the present. That's really wonderful. Because when we get too far out and we start putting our mind to those places, we kind of get off track, we get off course, we kind of derail ourselves. And that's a really easy way to derail ourselves, when we take our head to places that we're not there yet. So let's not go there. So let's just be on this journey, and let's see where it goes, and let's find the nuggets along the way, right? So does that make sense? So I want to say stay in your own zone, like stay in the present. Don't head to the future. Relabel what's happening. Oftentimes, like today, there's a lot of things happening where you heard that a lot of people are going to the ER, and they're going to the med clinics and stuff like that, because they think they're sick, they're not doing well, they're not feeling well. And really what's happening, what they're finding is they're all having like panic attacks, and they're having symptoms of anxiety. So it's real, but we're not really we're okay. We're just having a moment. If we can just take our thoughts back to a better place, take our mind to a better place, play music, bring ourselves back, breathe. Breathing is really good. We're going to talk about that. But having a panic attack, it's harmless. You're not going to die. You're not going to die from a panic attack. But I understand it feels so fearful and scary. But if you can just say, this is just a panic attack, I'm just going to recenter, let's take some breaths. People always say, calm down, take a breath, take a moment, take a breath. That is what we say, because as you take a breath, it's your lifeline, right? It centers you back to self and kind of brings you back, opposed to you wandering off. It's kind of like that balloon kind of taking off, and then you grab the string and bring the balloon back to you, right? It's kind of like that. I like visuals, so I'm a visual girl. Yes, the thoughts are creating the images, sometimes scary. Okay, yes, hang on. Hi, Adrienne, darling. How are you, sweetheart? I like the idea and the message that we can turn the dial. Yeah, because actually I was getting ready today too, because I did that message from Spirit early this morning, but then through the day, they keep like giving me things to talk about. And they also talked about like a podcast, right? So Spirit was kind of giving me some downloads also about like a podcast. So, television, radio, but a podcast. And like, let's say you in life, you have a podcast. And I'm just sharing this because they gave this to me about 2 hours ago. So I don't have it all figured out, but just kind of go with me. So you have your podcast. And if you have a podcast, you usually have a topic, right? Like your podcast is about, let's just say it's about gardening. Let's just say, this is a podcast that you're into gardening. Everything's about gardening, gardening, your trees or flowers or vegetables. And there's different talking points and segments on all these things. This is your podcast. Now, are you going to bring on a speaker that's going to talk about deals on cars? No. I mean, are you going to do that? Are you going to talk about astrology? No, you're not going to, because your podcast is about things. Your podcast is about what is good for you, right? Obviously somebody has a podcast because they feel inspired about this. This is like what they're into, so they're going to have a podcast about that. Now, they're not going to bring on topics and conversations and guest speakers to talk about things that are way off kilter from what your podcast is. And you have to think about your life as a podcast and understand that, I have this podcast. What kind of signal do I want to put out there? What kind of message do I want to put out there? Right? And we are our own messenger, right? We are the message. So everything has to start with us. So what are we like? If I want to be happy in Zen, do I find happiness in Zen by watching zombie movies? If I'm trying to be in a good, positive, energetic place, is it good to watch the news all day long? Do you understand what I'm saying? That we have to be a little bit mindful of that. And so if you can kind of say, well, I'm a podcast, like, what do I want to broadcast? Where my dial, what are they going to receive? So we have to say, if I want to talk about gardening and flowers on my podcast, I have to make sure I'm staying in that place of conversation. Does that make sense? Are you getting that? Does that feel right to you? Yes. And so, so there's that. So kind of like just different things you can kind of think about that something might resonate with you more than one. A radio dial, right? We want to tune it in to where it feels right to us. And we have a choice to what kind of music we want to listen to. If you're into country, you're probably not going to listen to rap. If you're into rap, you're not going to listen to pop, for the most part. And so, we have to keep mindful of the things that make us feel anxious and the conversations and stories and things that we watch that don't. That is our responsibility. It is our responsibility to make sure that we're doing that. You guys agree with that? Does that make sense for you? To just be mindful of that, right? Like you could choose what you watch on television. Here's an example. I'm watching Outlander right now, and I love it. But here's what I love about it. I don't love everything about it. And I find that when I am watching Outlander, sometimes it gets a little violent, and I don't want that in my space, right? It could be a little violent. It's those days were hard, and sometimes it's much. And I get up off the chair and I step away, and I come back when it's over. And I come back when that part is over. What I like about Outlander is I love the wonderful connection between Claire and Jamie. I love when they're on the horses and they're riding in Scotland. Scotland and that beautiful scenery and the ocean and the mountains and the greenery and the creeks. I mean, I love the visual of it. I love period pieces. So I love the costumes, and I love all of that. These are the things I love about it. And, but I don't like the violence. So I get up and I leave. I don't have to watch that. I can just take the pieces that I like, and I don't have to keep it all. Does that make sense? So you can make your own recipe, right? So are you being mindful of what feels good to you and what doesn't, even when it comes to television, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So we check our thoughts. So that was kind of a list here, but Spirit pretty much talked about that pretty well here today. Checking your thoughts. Thoughts that do not feel good affect your emotions, right? So people who are anxious are often focused on worst case scenarios. And so we shouldn't do that, but we worry about worst case scenarios because here we are in the future again, right? So stay back, don't go into the future, stay present. So, you know, and it kind of like, to combat it, it's kind of like, how am I feeling right now in this situation? So let's say you are worried about, I don't know, anything like, you know, maybe you're really an overachiever. Maybe you are really hard on yourself, and you have a big presentation or something that you kind of have to do, and you usually go in person to do it, but now you got to do it over Skype, and you're really nervous about it, you know, or you have to go on Zoom and do it, and that's uncomfortable for you because you used to do that. You don't have to get all anxious about it. You can just say, I'm prepared. I did my homework and my research. I know my stuff, and I can present myself just as well over Zoom as I could when I met with them in their office. So it's okay. And I'm going to do my best, and I'm good with that. Doesn't that feel better than freaking yourself out and saying, I don't know if I can do this presentation on Zoom. I've never done one on Zoom before, and it's not going to work, and da 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 da. You know, so we can sometimes kind of combat these fears that we have and not give us in this anxiety feeling if we just kind of, well, what's okay with it? Like, hey, you know, I'm nervous, but like, I'm prepared. So doesn't that feel better just to say you're prepared? Then I'm nervous and I don't think I can do it. You can say, yeah, it's a different way of doing it, but it could be a great way of doing it too, right? So how do you want to step into that situation? Breathe in and out, right? Breath is really important. So just sometimes, and again, I have a reset meditation on my website that is really ideal for this. It's 10 minutes, but also just take a breath, like just, whew, I'm noticing myself not feeling good. And that's really it. It's about being aware and paying attention to how you're feeling. You know when you're starting to feel a little anxious. You're aware of when you're feeling a little bit anxious. And you can catch it if you're aware more often in how you're feeling. So are you checking in with yourself regularly? Are you making check-ins with yourself throughout the day? Are you taking the moment to say, how am I feeling right now? Oh, I'm feeling kind of good. Things are in check. Okay, good. Things are in check. I'm feeling kind of good. Why? Well, I had my tea. I made some nice phone calls. I had some music going, or I'm prepared for the day. I feel really good. I'm wearing my favorite color. Like, why are we feeling good at that moment? Okay, great. I'm good. You checked in with your energy. Great. 2 or 3 hours later, check in again. Uh-oh, I'm feeling a little bit off. What just happened? Oh, well, you had that heavy phone call, or a deal didn't turn out in your favor that way. So, you know, so now I'm like, oh, okay, all right, but that's all right. You know, I did my best. That's all I can do. You know, let's just recenter. So, you know, being aware of how you feel all the time and checking in with yourself is really important. So when we tend to go through periods where we're feeling a little extra anxious, the more often you can make an appointment with yourself to just sit for a second and just kind of feel yourself, like, where is my energy feeling? How am I feeling right now? You can pay attention, and then you can prevent yourself from getting into kind of a tailspin, right? Because you could catch it earlier. And if you go all day or all day and all day tomorrow without even paying attention to your feelings and just noticing that you're really feeling anxious, but not really stopping it and kind of taking that moment to just breathe in and breathe out and just recognizing that was just something that happened. It's over now. I'm okay. I'm safe. And just breathe in, breathe out, you know, just do that a couple of times. Just do that a couple of times. It takes a couple of seconds. It's not a big deal. Just give yourself that moment to bring yourself back to present, you know, and don't let your mind go. So being aware is really important. Also, like, you know, paying attention to a trick to kind of learning to be aware is just pay attention in the moment. Like, okay, be aware of 3 things in the room. Be aware of 3 sounds in the room, right? Just be aware of 3 sounds in the room. Be aware of 3 things that you see in the room, right? And that's kind of helps kind of train you to kind of, oh, okay, I'm aware of that sound. I'm aware of that sound now. So in that second, you're aware and with that sound, right? Or that thing that you just see. It just kind of teaches you, trains you a little bit to kind of be more in awareness, right? It's kind of like a little game, a little trick to bring you to more awareness. Just do something. Why can't we just clean out a drawer? It's like if I feel anxious, I clean. I'm a cleaner. So if I'm feeling anxious, that's a grounding technique for me. So when I am anxious or, I feel I need grounding, I clean. That's me. So I know that makes me feel good and I get a cleaner house, right? So it's double whammy. So for you, what is that? Is it taking a shower? Is it breathing? Is it doing a couple yoga moves? Is it doing just a couple downward dogs? Or what is it for you? What can get movement going for you? Just move. Or just do an activity, take out the trash, change your state, just change your state. Tony Robbins always talks about changing the state. He gets you just to jump up and down, jump up and down, jump up and down, and just change your state all the time. And, and that's true, but we could do that with, cleaning out a drawer, or taking out the trash, or, doing a yoga move or two, or, doing something like that. So just do something that will help shift where you're at that moment into a better place. Does that make sense? Okay. So I always say, like what I talked about earlier, is that sometimes we just need a sounding board. So sometimes it's just nice to be able, for us to be that sounding board for somebody else, and then allowing somebody else to be that sounding board for us. And it's about asking permission to say, I just need a moment to vent. Would that be okay? And by asking that permission to somebody, whether it be your mother, whether that be your sibling, whether that be your best friend, it allows them the opportunity to say, okay, they need a sounding board. So you can just kind of like, you're not going to necessarily feel into everything that they're giving you, right? So you're kind of like on notice, right? It's like, okay, they need a sounding board. They're not trying to have you fix their problems, or you can't necessarily ask them to fix your problems. Sometimes we just need to release what it is we're feeling. And so speaking it sometimes just really helps. And just be the sounding board for somebody in your life that you feel is a little anxious and needs to just talk it out. And also give yourself permission to allow somebody to be that sounding board for you. Right? And another good thing that you could do for sounding off, another way to release energy is writing. Writing is a wonderful thing. Do you have a journal? Do you have a journal or a notebook pad or something that you can just kind of like, I'm feeling a little bit stressed right now, or I'm feeling a little bit anxious, and just write down what it is. Just write it out, release it, just release it. And then as you're releasing it, as you write it all out, now end it with something positive. This felt really good to do. I feel so much better now. I am moving forward better today now since I've done this. Now I have released it and I've let it out of me and I'm feeling better. Now I'm just going to take in a breath, positivity, put your pen down and get moving. Sometimes we just need to get it out. So we can do that through writing. We can do that through sharing and being a vocal soundboard for somebody else and asking somebody else to be that. But ask the permission if you want someone to be a sounding board for you, so that they can take that moment to go, okay, I'm just here to be a sounding board. I'm not here to try to fix the problems. Because some of us, we're fixers and we like to fix things and we like to fix others. That's who we are. We're healers, we're fixers, we're mothers. And so, but sometimes they don't need it fixed. They just need it released. And there's a big difference for that. And so just, you might need that, and your kids might need that, or your spouse might need that. So sometimes it's just good to be a sounding board, right? I'm really big on watching funny things. So like when I watch Outlander, and I can only watch X amount of episodes at a time, right? Because it's kind of heavy. Sometimes it can be really brutal, and I can't handle too much of it. And then when I'm done, I'm like, okay, Joe, cut. I can't watch anymore. Like, I got 2 episodes in because I'm watching more TV now, so I can't take more than this. So now I need Big Bang Theory. So and I don't care if I've seen that episode before because I know it's not on anymore. But you could stream all those episodes, and I don't care what episode I'm watching or what season it is. I love it. It makes me happy. So I love Big Bang Theory. So I'll immediately go there because I want to get rid of that show that started to get a little heavy. Although I'm into it, but it's a little heavy, and I got to release that. So now I'm going to watch Big Bang Theory, and I'll do that before I go to bed. So I'll watch an episode of Big Bang Theory now before I go to sleep, just because it's fun and it puts me in a good place, and then I can go to sleep with those good vibes. Make sense? So anybody want to chime in? Hi, Tia. Love writing your thoughts. Yeah. Breathing is a great exercise. I got it on my Apple Watch. Oh, good. Yeah. You have a breathing exercise on your Apple Watch? That's awesome. Who else has Apple Watch? You should look into that. Helps me to remind myself to stop and to breathe. Yeah, that's kind of like the check-ins that I'm talking about. Like just pause and just check in. How's my energy right now? How am I feeling right now? How has the last couple hours been right now? And if we can make a habit of doing that, or like your app for your phone, it will train us to not allow us to get too far into feeling not well and get us back in alignment with feeling better. Make sense? So I think that's really good. So also understand, I was talking with a girlfriend today, and obviously some of us in this community that I'm in, this healing community, this spiritual community, we talk about things that's kind of going on in life, and we were talking about stuff, and she said to me, this is not personal, and this is not permanent. And that's really good advice. So I'm giving a shout out to Jocelyn, because that's what she said today. We were talking, had this whole dialogue going, and we were back and forth and having discussion. And then all of a sudden she said, what's going on around here in life, this is not personal and it is not permanent. And if you could just remember that, I mean, what beautiful words from her. I love her to pieces, and it was so wonderful. And so when she said that, it was like, absolutely, I said, I'm going to add that, because it's really true. And so she had said that, and it was, so if we could just understand that what's going on is not personal and it's not permanent. And so that's from JC. Okay, so anybody have anything that they want to share about anything you're kind of going through, anything at all like that? There's other tips about helping you be a little bit less anxious, and that's really eating better, right? Because I know when I don't eat well, I don't feel so good about myself. And if I don't feel so good about myself, that's starting that spiral, right? So it's about not doing that. So, I don't always eat great. I'm not to say I'm a nutritionist, because I'm not. So I'm not even going to begin to explain how to eat. That's not really where I feel my value can be best served for you, because I don't always practice it myself. But I do know that when I do eat well, I feel better about myself. So let's just say that. Also caffeine, because if I don't drink, if I drink a lot of caffeine, like a lot of coffee, I will notice myself race a little bit more. So limiting caffeine, if you're going through times that can feel a little bit more anxious, lose that caffeine, or try to go more decaf on your teas and coffee. Obviously limit the alcohol is also very helpful. Obviously deep breath in and out. We talked about that. Except that you can't fix everything. And, for all of you out there that are fixers, to understand that not everything is really made to be fixed. Sometimes it's just life getting our attention. And it's really just personal stuff to work on ourselves. Like, how can I step into my life differently? And this pause button that all of us are on right now, everybody in the world is really on this. It's huge. And everyone's on a pause button to take a moment and just maybe reset and reassess, getting back to more things that give us more joy and happiness, and maybe making awareness of, maybe I've stepped away from those things, and maybe now's a good time to kind of incorporate some of that back into my life. So it's just, everyone's reset for different, maybe all for different reasons that we have, but it's about taking a look at everything and maybe refostering these lovely connections with our family and our friends. And, there's lots of different ways that we can look at how this is a reset button for us, and it's personal and individual for each of us. But taking that time and being grateful for that time of being able to do that a little bit. Like me, when I said earlier, I really am happy I'm starting to write again, because I had stepped away from that, and I've been feeling very moved to do more of it again. So I'm listening. So listen to yourself. Okay. So that will be great for you. Okay. Welcome humor. I love a girlfriend that makes me laugh. My girlfriend just made me crack up a few hours ago. I loved it. She just makes me smile. So it's good to be with people in your life that make you smile too, right? And we want people in our life that can uplift us, and we also like to uplift others too. That's why, even if we're smiling at a distance or waving at somebody at a distance, let's extend that love, and it will be reached, and they will feel that, and that will make you feel good too. So Also, just kind of learn what triggers you, right? Like learn what, like I know the news triggers me. Like that's why I don't watch it. And listen, there's so many other ways to get the news. So, I mean, there's news being spilled out everywhere. So you don't have to be watching it 24/7 to be informed. And how much do we need to be informed? So much of it is repeated anyway on the news, right? Like they say it over and over, and it's broadcasted over and over and over and over again. It's not so much new stuff all the time, right? But they just keep putting it in our forefront, in our movie screen. And if that doesn't serve you in your feelings of feeling better, then maybe don't do that. So I don't watch the news. And so I'm not telling you not to watch the news. I'm just telling you that's a trigger for me. And so I don't do it, right? I'd rather watch Big Bang Theory. I love Sheldon. Okay. Okay. Cheryl, you were England with me, right? Are you still on, Cheryl? When we were watching The Big Bang Theory, do you remember that? We watched it together in the hotel. Yeah? Okay. And also if something, it's never bad to, go see a doctor and just kind of get checked too, if you feel that, they can offer something to you that could feel better as well. But these are just like little tips that we can do. Obviously there's meditation, there's yoga, and there's lots of streaming things online for yoga and meditation. Also, there's all sorts of stuff on YouTube. And, I have meditations on my website, but there's some on YouTube, and there's all sorts of exercise things, because, exercising with those endorphins help you feel better too. So sometimes if we're not being able to go to the gym and we're used to doing that, that can make us feel a little anxious. So, it's about, checking in and kind of finding new ways of being, new ways of experiencing exercising, new ways of being with your friends, new ways of doing this. Like, isn't this kind of fun? Just here we are. Let's just talk about something. Let's see if I can get a nugget or two from this girl over here. And it's just kind of, it's something, right? It's a little here, a little there, a little there, a little here. It's doing things a little bit differently. And, that kind of adds up. I always say it's like breadcrumbs on your path. As we pick up and pick up and pick up and pick up the breadcrumbs, soon we have a loaf, right? And so it's just pulling little nuggets from here and there that feel good to you, whether something that comes from me or from somebody else. You just kind of gather. And before you know it, you got enough to make your own soup, your own well-being soup. Does that make sense? Okay, so tell me what you think. I mean, are you guys resonating with this? Can you understand listening to podcasts while walking my dog? That's good. What kind of podcasts are you listening to? Are you doing readings? Hi, Susan. What do you mean? Like right now, am I doing readings? What does that mean? Podcast while walking. So if anybody has wonderful podcasts that you want to share here that will help maybe somebody, as they're, finding time to kind of, bring in good vibes, that would be awesome. I spent 3 hours cleaning my art and craft space last night. Oh my God, I bet you felt amazing, right? I bet you felt amazing. Playing piano helps. Oh yeah, I heard that Courtney Cox is taking up piano. That's how she's spending some time. Listening to music helps. Cleaning seems to do the trick pretty good as well, which I'm not a fan of, but I do it all the time now as a cure. Yeah, so, there's a lot of cures within us. Like what Spirit was saying today, there is nothing that we are experiencing in our feelings or emotions that we can't handle and deal with. It is not too big. So we don't need our mind to make it seem bigger than it is. So just don't make things bigger than they have to be. Let's just stick with just now. How are we feeling now? What can we do now? Stay in the present moment. Stay in the present. Okay. So anyway, does anybody have anything they want to talk about at all before I chime out of here? Was any of these tips helpful? Is there any other Facebook Live topic you would like me to do? Is there something, because like this one came from somebody from a few Facebook Lives before that they asked about this. So I kind of pulled something together here, but is there something else that you guys would like? Or are you sick of me? Do you want me to stop going on? I could stop too. So just let me know. I don't want to bug you. Health Spiritual Podcast, fantastic. James Van Prague podcast is a good one. Okay, great. Arlene, painting something I have had to put off with working all the time. Okay, good. Painting is really soothing, isn't it? When you paint, being creative in any sense is really soothing. That's why, Even when I was talking about writing, you know, we can write and we can kind of write out our feelings. We can even write songs. We can even write poetry. We can do a lot of different things. Just in the writing, we can write our feelings out. We can turn those feelings into something creative, a poem, a song, a jingle, something, you know, that would be kind of fun. Okay, let's see. Anybody else? Hi, Gia. They are awesome. Yeah. Love your hair. Oh, thanks, Arlene. Yeah, I kind of did it without the curls today. Do you like it? Do you get any messages from spirit when this will end? You know, I haven't asked that, but you know, as I mentioned earlier in the segment, I'm starting to write again with them. And so as I'm doing that, there will be a lot of questions so that I'm going to ask. And so that's one I can ask, you know, certainly. So I can ask them about that. And today I wanted to ask them about, you know, feeling anxious and kind of help guide us a little bit to feel less. And I read that to you guys earlier in this Facebook Live. So if you missed it, you can play it back and listen to what Spirit said. And so, yeah, so let's see what else. So to answer your question, Susan, no, I haven't asked. And so I don't know. I love what you are saying. Yes. Are you doing readings now? I am grieving so much right now. I'm sorry, darling Susan. I'm not really doing readings. I don't typically do readings on Facebook Live. And the reason why I don't do it, because you never know how many people are on, and also, you know, some people are chiming in and some people are on that you don't see, as far as how many are really, you know, on. And so it just doesn't resonate with me. So I don't really do readings on Facebook, because, you know, as I'm feeling someone, you know, if they're not responding, you know, not everybody who's on Facebook Live responds in the comments, right? And so it's really important to have everybody really engaged if I give readings. Does that make sense? And so I would maybe consider doing that in a smaller group or something where there's smaller amounts of people. You know, where I can really kind of make more of an impact, you know, where people can really get and understand what's being said for them, right? So anyway, does that make sense? Okay, let's see, what else? Ooh, now what is this? Ask Spirit what they want us to know. Okay, so I will ask that. So maybe tomorrow morning, let me make a note of that. I can do that. As I write with them, I will ask that question. That's lovely. Is there any other questions anybody has that would be kind of good? You know, I know that the guides that I work with, it's always got to be about your personal growth and development. They always, you know, they always want to kind of help move somebody forward. And so I know that that is always their intent. So any questions that you would have would need to be focused on how, you know, how to move you ahead or how to move you forward, or a particular topic that you're struggling in that they can give guidance for. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's see if there's anything else, guys. Okay, anyway, hi. Okay, so anyway, I just wanted to kind of take this minute to kind of see if there's a couple of tips, and just if there's some kind of tips that I can share that would kind of help you guys a little bit with what's going on right now. And if we're feeling a little bit, you know, anxious being home and indoors and out of our routine and not quite settled in, and, you know, just sort of give you a couple of nuggets. I hope you guys got a nugget or two from this. That was my hope and intention, that, you know, I just come on here to share. And that's really it, just to be with you and just to share. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of it and you got something from it, I hope. And if there's nothing else, if you guys have any other questions that you have for me, any other questions that you have for me, let me just see. There's something else. Thank you so much for giving motivation, tips, and inspiration. Enjoyed this interaction very much. Wonderful. I want to sage the house too. Yeah, good. Sage the house. Do you prefer sage or pale? I like sage. I like white sage. I use white sage when I do it. I make sure when you sage, you go into all the corners, right? So when you want to sage, it's always a positive intention as you sage the home, and you just go into every corner of your home. That's where energy sits. So you want to kind of move that. And I also go around every window and every door frame, right? So the sage, you can buy sage online, you know, since the spiritual stores aren't really open right now, but spiritual stores have them, but, you know, it's they're not open right now, I don't think so. Anyway, I just always go around the corners, around the house, around the windows, around the door frames of every window and door in the house, and always with positivity, with a prayer if you want, if you have a certain prayer that resonates with you. Just positivity is, you know, or a wonderful, you know, affirmation or wonderful positivity or something of clearing, you know, I'm clearing this space. I'm clearing any negative energy or any stale, stagnant energy, and I'm replacing it now with love and light, and you know, whatever it is for you. You know, find what kind of feels right for you, but just go around the corners, the door frames, and the windows, and that is. And I use white sage. Okay, so let's see anything else. You're welcome, Gia. You're welcome, you guys. Okay, thanks, Evie. Okay, good, guys. Well, then I guess I'm going to sign out. If you missed the message from Spirit earlier, chime back in. And if there's any, perhaps maybe a message or a Facebook Live topic you would like me to come on board and just, you know, spend 20 minutes here, trying to keep my Facebook Lives shorter because I tend to go long. And so I'm trying to be more mindful of everyone's time. And so, but if you have something, leave it in the comments, even when you, if somebody is watching this and it's not live, just drop it in the comments and I will watch them. I will look at them. And if it's a topic I can help you with, I will absolutely come on. Okay. All right, you guys, be good and be sending you wonderful kisses. Okay. And until next time. All right.